right. Welcome to Voices of Integrity Training and Legacy Partnerships for Personalities. And so the lifegps.org, the lifegps.org is a great, mobile app. And so you go in, you take the test. And so when you're asking the test, you'd always ask from the upper left to the, clockwise, cube, pyramid, wavy line, or ball. When I'm asking the question, I'll say it quickly first. So which of these, I'm just curious, so when you add curiosity, you get away with anything. You're like a 3-year-old boy, you just do. So I'm curious, which of these 4 shapes would you tend to like the most? A cube, a pyramid, a wavy line, or a ball? Again, which of these 4 shapes would you tend to like the most? A cube, a pyramid, a wavy line, or ball? I always say it in that order. And the first time I say it quick because they're not listening, but it's like, what? So they're not used to being asked. So which one do you like the most? A cube, a pyramid, wavy line, or ball? If they say wavy line, I'm like, okay, great. And next, a cube, a pyramid, and a ball. If they say a cube, then I say great. And next, a pyramid or a ball. So I'm always putting it in that order so I don't have to think about that. I'm listening to them and their tone and everything. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I go, great. And so they'll tell me first, second, and third, and then I know, then I know the fourth. Then I say, and which of these 4 things would cause you the most frustration in any area of your life? And I try to say it a little slower. Things being out of order, out of control, boring or not fun, or conflict with others. Again, which would cause you the most frustration? Out of order, out of control, boring or not fun, or conflict. And if they say conflict, I say great. And next, out of order, out of control, or boring or not fun. If they say out of control, then I say, okay, great. And after that, out of order, or boring or not fun. So I'm always going around this order. I'm always going around this order, have that. So then I have both of those. So then I have both of those done. Then gives me the Life GPS gives me, their number 1 for the geo test and then the number 1 for the pain test. And it's a 1-minute video. This is actually where you could find it, the strengths and the weaknesses. Then if I go into display all, this gives me the order. So it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, or it's the 1. So you always give the order. So if I say somebody's a 1243, that's what that is. This one, it's a 2143. So you always give the first number here, the second number here, the third number here, the fourth number here. So what I would do is I would go ahead and this one here would go ahead and be. So you've probably heard when somebody goes ahead and says to me, Mark, they're a 1230, they're a 1234. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the first one. That's the geo. You always give the geo first. And then Mark, the second one is a 2134. So 2134. For the combined of 3368.
Shouldn't it be a 1243 and a 2143?
Let's see. It's the 1243. Yes. Sorry. Yes. Yep. So if somebody's a 42 13 and a 1 3 4 2 for a 55 55, what's their geo test?
They're right in the middle.
But what's their primary personality? What's their first,
the
second?
primary analytic driver. Expressive.
So this person's an expressive primary, and then what after that?
Driver.
Yep, and then after that?
Amiable.
Yep. So they're a expressive driver, amiable, analytic. And then on the pain quadrant, they are a
Driver.
yep. No,
And then
no,
no, analytic.
yep. Analytic, primary, secondary,
Amiable.
yep. Third,
Driver.
yep. And expressive. And so combined, what are they? They're the ultimate inner quadrant chameleon. A 55-55 means that they're exactly, they're exactly in the middle. They're exactly in the middle of everything. So their primary and secondary are totally opposite. If you look at this, this is my personality. So if you look at my personality, what am I combined?
Driver, analytic, driver.
Yeah. So I'm equal in both of those. So if I'm equal in both of those, what do you see me mostly in the world? In the world that you guys see me, what personality do you see me the most at?
Driver.
Come on, Cheryl, give me a little love. What 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 do you see me most as, Cheryl?
I would say the same, driver.
Oh, you guys, they're not very nice to me, everybody. Can Adam help him out? Which do you see the most of me?
What's that?
So you got to be listening, Orlin and Doreen, because you don't think, see, Adam doesn't think I'm talking to him, so he's not involved in the conversation. All of a sudden, I ask him a question to see if he's paying attention. He's not. And so you got to pay attention. So when I'm talking to Elaine and Cheryl, I'm really not talking to Elaine and Cheryl. I'm talking to everybody. So what did I want, Cheryl and Elaine to say? When they see me on a daily basis, what do they see me most as?
Analytic.
No, what do I want you to say?
Oh, I don't know. I'm stumped on
Why
this
are you
one.
laughing, Cheryl?
It's a little bit confusing to me. Because I don't understand how, like, that was interesting to me seeing you go through that, the personality stuff, but I need to internalize it to understand it completely.
Right. And I've been working on it for, over almost 40 years now, and I don't understand it completely.
Oh, that's comforting.
Right. So, it's just like God or a woman. I'm not equating a woman to God. I'd never do that, obviously. And women would never do that. I'm just saying it's like God and woman. The more you know about God, the more you know you don't know. The more you know about a woman, the more you know you don't know. The more you know about personalities, the more you know you don't know. So what I wanted you both to say is, well, Mark, what you come across on a regular basis, on a daily basis, what I see you as an expressive. That's what I wanted you both. I wanted you both to say that.
And how would we have gotten that from the numbers? Does it have any connection to the numbers?
Sure.
Okay, explain, please.
The 8 is my weakness. It's my biggest weakness. I don't test out as in the test. I test out as 0 expressive. Expressive is my weakest area.
So in our weakest area, we're gonna have that more. Is that what you're saying?
No, we're gonna have that least. So Orlin and Doreen, forgive Elaine and Cheryl and I, we're still getting we're still getting in alignment. They're struggling a little bit. So if you go ahead and you say expressive, well, Mark, I see you as an expressive. What will that make me feel?
I don't know.
Elaine?
But why would we pick your weakest?
It's what women do to encourage me, to make me feel good, to lift me up, to go ahead and say, Mark, you know, I see you as an expressive. And so I would laugh, you would laugh, everybody would laugh. Everybody would be like, oh, that's so cute. And then Melissa would roll her eyes and she'd be like, really? Like, and the people and Rosanna would be like, really? Like, so so what it is this is the one, the expressive is the hardest personality I have to deal with. Well, I don't know. The analytic, amiable, I struggle with them. Oh, but the expressive, this is the one that I have the hardest time emulating. This is the one that, so what it is it's a joke. You're, you know, it's an expressive. You're joking. You're laughing. You're like, yeah, Mark, I see the expressive. You're just really expressive. And then everybody starts laughing because everybody's like, he's just not. But I kind of am. So I spent 3 years as an expressive working on, and then another 3 years. I mean, I've spent so much of my life in this arena. Questions?
Nope.
So what you do is you say, Mark, I see you as an expressive. And then the secondary is amiable. So these two are natural to me. It doesn't take work for me to be a driver. It takes work for me not to be a driver. It doesn't take work for me to be an analytic. It takes work for me not to be that. It's hard work being an expressive and an amiable to me.
Okay.
And so what Orlin wants to say is, really, Mark, like, I don't see that in you. I just see you as an expressive, amiable. So if he says that around other people, like my son-in-law or my family, they'll be just rolling their eyes. So what it does is it affirms me, it validates me that, you know, I'm a pretty funny guy and I'm super nice guy, but people don't see that so much. Why? Because somebody's got to be the driver, somebody's got to be the analytic. Questions?
No.
Okay, then if you watch these videos, so there's 12 videos that I wrote, and I could find the copy on these. That'd be a good idea. You know, so I could find the copy on these, and this is what I, you know, essentially we cloned me. And so Jonathan created these 1-minute videos. Your greatest strength is this, your greatest weakness is this. And so John, I wrote the copy for this, and then Jonathan put together the video. So essentially, this is what I do. This is cloning me.
Okay.
And so what this does is this is like Jesus and the woman at the well. So he told her things about herself that other people knew, but he's a stranger, so he doesn't know. And when he tells her about herself in things that he shouldn't know, what does that do to her heart?
He captures it.
He captures her heart. And when he captures her heart, what's her response when he captures her heart?
I just read this and I can't answer that question. That's so stupid.
No, it's just, you know, that's the Baptist. If you have Baptist training, they teach you this stuff. I don't know. Maybe it's me being a pastor's kid. Maybe it's me being strange. what she does is she tells all of her friends and brings all of her friends to him and says, listen to this guy because he's told me things that, nobody should know. So this is Ben, who's 25. When he was, I don't know, 12 years old, 13 years old, he was in cross country track. So he's running, long distances, and he has a track meet. And it's like, I don't know, on Monday night at night, he comes up, he runs up, he says, Dad, where are those little laminated cards? I'm like, in the room on the back of the door. He's like, okay, thanks. And he runs and gets them. I don't know why he's doing this. And okay, whatever. So we go to the track meet the next day. And, unbeknown to me, he grabbed a chunk of them and started handing them out at the track meet. He's 12 years old. And then he comes up to me, he says, Dad, can you help me out? I'm like, sure. What's going on? He says, I did that personality thing you do on people. I'm like, okay. And he says, all my friends are ticked at me. I'm like, okay, why is that? He's like, I don't know. I did it just like you. I'm like, okay, how'd you do it? He says, well, I asked him the questions on the shape and the other. I'm like, okay. And then he said, and then I told them their weaknesses. And it was cute. You can't tell people their weaknesses first. You tell them their strengths first. You say, your greatest strength is maybe, and then you're humble about it. Your greatest strengths might be you like to dot your I's, cross your T's, make sure things are done properly in order. So that wins their heart. That gets them to like you. So people will tend to like you who are like you, or will say something nice about you. People will fall in love with you if you do it right, by telling things that they don't want to hear. This is something that most men do not understand about women. Most women do not understand it about themselves, actually, on a conscious basis. So you can't say one of your weaknesses as an analytic is you dot your I's, cross your T's, make sure things are done properly in order. People will go on the defensive. But if you say, one of your greatest strengths might be you like to dot your I's, cross your T's, make sure things are done properly in order. And people pause, or they'll laugh, or they'll do something. And then after they acknowledge you, you wait just enough time and they acknowledge you. And then you go ahead and say, and maybe one of your weaknesses might be like to dot your I's, cross your T's, make sure things are done properly in order. And you say the exact same thing. And then their response will be one of a few. They might say, I don't understand. You say, well, our greatest strength is our greatest weakness, and our greatest weakness is just our greatest strength misapplied. It's taking a strength and carrying it too far. So you're really good at details, probably. Yeah, I am. Sometimes maybe you're too picky. Oh, I hadn't thought of that before. Or if you're a driver personality, one of your greatest strengths is your drive, your assertiveness, you make things happen. Oh, yeah, that's true. And one of your weaknesses, might be your drive, assertiveness, you make things happen. I don't understand that. I mean, you're really driven. You make things happen. You can do things nobody else can do. Oh, yeah, I get that. And sometimes you might run people over. Oh, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, that's true. The expressive, one of your greatest strengths is your energy, excitement, and enthusiasm. Yeah, for sure. And one of your weaknesses might be your energy and excitement and enthusiasm. I don't see that. Well, sometimes you might get too excited. Sometimes you might have too many ideas. And so sometimes, you have a hard time following through because you have too many. Oh, I totally get that. One of your greatest strengths as an amiable is your concern, compassion for people. Oh, totally. One of your weaknesses might be your concern, compassion for people. I don't get that. Well, you care too much about maybe what people think and people take advantage of you. Oh, I totally get that. Now, most people, I would say, don't respond that way. Most people pause and then they laugh. So that reveals if they're self-aware, if they've actually thought about it, but they've maybe never articulated, they're aware of it, but not on a deep level. So often people will laugh. So sometimes they'll say, I don't understand. And you explain it to them how a strength is a weakness. Then, or you can go ahead but you go in soft. You don't go in telling them, you say maybe, might, this might be a strength. This might be, so you be soft. So what Ben did, he skipped over the nice and just ripped it and said, one of your weaknesses, might be you're too picky. One of your weakness. So he led with weaknesses. People aren't going to like you. They're going to get ticked off if you explain their weakness first. So I said, yeah, you can't do it that way. He says, Dad, can you fix this? I'm like, sure. So he brings over like a handful of his friends, and I do the test and I go through and I explain, here's your strengths and here's your weakness. And they love me. So what do?
I'm not sure.
They share it with their friends.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did. Women at the well. They run out. They're all running. We're at a track meet and they're all running. All of a sudden, before I know it, there's like 20 or 30 kids around me. And what happens after there's 20 or 30 kids around me?
Reminds me of the dancing man.
Right. The crazy dancing man. That's exactly right. But when there's 20 kids around me, so these are 12, 13-year-old boys, girls, there's a whole bunch of them. And there's this guy in the middle of them, and so I'd have been 45 at the time, or I'm sorry, 50 at the time. So that was probably 10 years ago, 11 years. So 45 to 55. So when there's a bunch of kids around a man, what's going to happen after that?
Parents are going to come over.
The moms are going to come over because they're a little concerned. Like they're a little concerned. So all of a sudden you get all these moms coming over. Now I've got, a ring of kids around me, and then I got a ring of moms around me. And what happens after all the moms are around me?
Here come the dads.
Well, sometimes the dads are a little clueless. I mean, nothing against dads. I'm just saying, but they will eventually know, wait a minute, how come this guy's getting all the attention and I'm not? Because I'm bringing value to people. I'm bringing value to your children. I'm bringing value to your wife. So pay attention, because this stuff is interesting. And so it's just like the woman at the well. So it goes out, it spreads out. And that's why Life GPS is so valuable, so important, because people go, whoa, this is really cool. And so this gives you the geo, this gives you the pain quadrant, this gives you the combined. So when you're doing an assessment, I kind of do it, typically lead with the geo. And I'll tell them their primary and secondary. And then I'll go ahead and say, then I go to the pain, and then I tell them the primary and secondary, and then I go into the combined. And so what that does is literally in 3 minutes, I've won their heart. They're just absolutely mesmerized by it, because they're like, I've never experienced anything like this. Like, you don't even know me. Now, there are some times where people go, that's not true. That's why you go in light. What's really funny is when a husband says that's not true, and the wife is giggling and laughing. She knows it's so true, but the husband's in denial. Or the wife says, that's not like me. I'm not like that. And the husband's laughing, or all of her girlfriends are laughing, like all the family members. So it's funny when somebody's in denial, but you don't fight them. You're not trying to prove anything. You're just like one of your greatest strengths is an amiable might be, your tenacity. Oh yeah, I'm very tenacious, set my mind to do something and I do it. Okay. One of your weaknesses might be, you might be a bit stubborn at times. I'm not stubborn. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I mean, like, you're not fighting them. You're not trying to convince them of anything. You're just saying, hey, these are tendencies. These are things that I have found to be true, or we have found to be true. And so to get somebody to buy something from you, and when I say buy, people think of money, but I'm not talking money. I'm talking your kids buying a value system, your community buying a value system, people around you buying a value system. And so, when I'm around young men, I'm trying to sell them a value system. I am seeking to to give them a value system, sell them on a value system that I believe is the best value system for them. I think that will help them to do what they want in life. So what this does is this puts you in a position to where you can sell them whatever, attending Coffee Connections, doing a 30-minute strategy session, coming to, Fun in the Sun, the July 13th event over at our house, or, coming to an event, or, doing a 30-minute, or doing a business X-ray, doing Action Vision, or anything. I mean, it's like, so what the personalities does is it puts you in position where people are like, whoa, that was weird. So that 3-minute interaction creates a synapse in their head where they're connected deeply to you at a conscious or a subconscious basis. Questions?
No.
I have a question here.
Yes.
So, actually, it is a genuine question. How do you know so much about these personalities and people's behavior? I am just curious right now.
So it's, part of it is just who I am. So I'm just a curious person by nature. And I'm curious about people, like, why do people do what they do? So that's just, that's been the earliest memory is probably 5 years old. I'm like, why did I do what I did when I was 5? And why did somebody else respond the way they did when they were 5? Why do adults do what they do? So I'm very curious by nature. And then I got into sales when I was, out of college, and I needed a faster way. So, people who are naturally good at sales can know this stuff intuitively, but I didn't. And so then I started to develop systems that would identify people's personalities a lot faster. So most personality tests, the company makes money on the test by selling the test. If you make money selling the test, you have to make it complicated. Otherwise, people don't buy the test. Because I wasn't making money on the test, I need to figure out a fast, easy way. So figured out a way to identify somebody's personality in 17 seconds rather than 17 minutes. And then I just started using that at the age of 23 years old, like crazy. And then, my wife, like, she's very different than me. Why? Like, why does she think so differently than me? And my kids, like, and other people, like, why do people think differently? And so it's been over 40 years where I'm studying this stuff and looking at this and reading books, and mostly study. Their books have helped me some. There's a book out there called The Platinum Rule. So we're taught the golden rule, which is treat other people the way we want to be treated. I learned very early in life, people don't want to be treated the way I do. So I want to be treated. You don't like me, tell me I'm an idiot. Just say, hey, Mark, I think you're an idiot. I will go ahead and like that. I enjoy that because finally there's somebody in the world that's honest. I am so tired of dishonesty. I just hate playing games. I just hate it. But other people, I apply the golden rule. Oh, does that tick people off? I treat people the way I want to be treated. Oh, people don't like that. Like, they don't. So the platinum rule, there's a book out there on it. The platinum rule is treating people the way they want to be treated, but that will get them to like you, but not love you. So my wife is a natural at treating people the way that they want to be treated. People love her. Well, people like her. So people like her because she treats them the way they want to be treated. But somebody like that, it's hard to have deep relationships because people know it's like, well, you're saying nice things to me, but you're probably not thinking those things. You're probably thinking something else. So understanding this is gives you access into sales and understanding of people in a crazy cool way, where you're able to, in 17 seconds, identify their personality. Once you identify their personality, you know their strengths, weaknesses, what they like, what they don't, turn them on, turns them off, if they're married, who they're married to, conflict of marriage. You know more about that individual in 17 seconds than they know about themselves. That is value. That is massive amount of value. You can solve people's problems. You understand things about people that they've never understood about themselves. And that's going to draw people to you. Questions?
So I think for the amiable personality, they want to tell the thing to the people they want to hear. So is that fair to say that amiable people are somehow diplomatic?
Yes. Or you could say liars.
Yeah.
Diplomatic sounds much nicer.
Right. Diplomatic. Right. Yeah. Or they're liars. They're not going to tell people the truth. And so, yes, that's exactly what an amiable is. Yeah. So my wife, she's like, you know, I'm like, why do you tell that person that? That's not the truth. Yeah, but it makes them feel good. I'm like, and that's nice. I'm like, how is lying to somebody nice? I don't I like that person's an idiot. I know they're an idiot, honey. You know they're an idiot. All their family know they're idiots too. Everybody knows they're idiots. How is telling them that they're a nice person, smart person? How is that being nice to them? It's not being nice because everybody in their lives know they're idiots. Everybody knows the truth. Nobody's willing to tell them the truth. And so she just like rolls her eyes and shakes her head and says, okay. Like, I mean, I don't understand. And so, but she's wired differently. Her brain is very different wired than mine. That's not good or bad, but it is different. And that's why when she and I are in our alignment, it's like this perfect match, you know, like the kids, they would laugh and, you know, when they were little and they'd say, if you want to feel good, go to mom. Because she's going to tell you what you want to hear. Like you have a sliver in your foot or your hand, and it's like you have a sliver in your foot, and it's like, oh my gracious, you have a sliver in your foot. Let mom take care of that. Let me pull it out, you know. And so she'll do it and give it a kiss and make sure that the kid feels good. So the kid's going to feel good with mom. But what are they going to do tomorrow? They're going to have another sliver in their foot because they're walking around on the wood deck without shoes on. To me, that's not, I mean, the child feels loved because, you know, mom's there and loving them. And the mom's going to feel like she's a good mom. But Cheryl's sister went ahead and said something very profound I wish I would have heard years ago. And that is, lazy moms do all the work. And I got that. Like I've never heard Cheryl's sister say that, but Cheryl said it, I think, to Elaine, and then Elaine said it to me, or somehow I got it. I'm like, that's brilliant. That's a one for the books. So in the personalities, it's like each one has to understand, each one has to understand their strengths and weaknesses, because our weaknesses are just our strengths misapplied. It's taking a strength and carrying it too far. So in sales, when you ask them their biggest challenge, solving their biggest challenge, it's how, so Einstein said, you can never solve a problem on the level it was created. What does that mean? It means we create our own problems based on how we think. How do we think? We think based on our personality largely. So to solve a problem, we have to think about it from a different perspective. So because I've experimented with this over the years, I'll naturally think driver and then analytic, or analytic and then driver. But I can go into the amiable and I can go into the expressive, and I can think like they think if I need to do that. Elaine, any other questions? Does this help?
Yes, immensely. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, so practice this, practice this, practice this, practice this on your family, on your friends. Like Tom Kuntz, there's a 12-hour course, online course. It's a phenomenal course. There was a lady who had her doctorate in psychology. She went through the course and she said, Mark, I learned more in that 12-hour course than I did with my doctorate in psychology. Tom Kuntz went through the course, and at a Christmas party, a family party, he had his wife, current wife, and then his ex-wife, she was there, and then the kids. And he went around and he did the personality to everybody. And he had been married to his current wife, I think, for 15 years, probably at the time or so. So it'd been a while. And he said to me something very profound. And he said it publicly. I think it might be even in the course. I'm not sure. And he said, I love my current wife like crazy. And I'm glad I'm married to her. But Mark, when I understood this, when I went through the course and I understood my ex-wife's personality and my personality, if I would have known this, we probably wouldn't have gotten divorced. So we tend to like people who are like us, and we tend to fall in love with people who are opposite of us. And this is why divorce often doesn't work if somebody gets remarried, because they're going to be drawn to the same type of person, same type of personality. And that person's going to be broken, and they're going to be broken. And when you get two broken people together, well, you have something absolutely magical, or you have really messy. So this stuff it literally is life changing. I mean, it really is. There's so many stories that I could share about this. I don't think it's over dramatic that this probably saved our marriage. The first two, she's 19, I'm 20. We got a lot of stuff, happening. The first 2 years of our marriage were just brutal, just really hard. And it kind of ran across similar, this is far more advanced, but personalities. And I realized after a couple of years of marriage that she was built very different than I was. And so it helped me to understand, all right, she's not doing all this to irritate me on purpose. She's just doing it accidentally. And if she's irritating me, I'm irritating her. This is not necessarily bad. It's like a pearl. How does a pearl get formed? There's a piece of sand that goes into a clam, and the clam has a secretion around it. So this beautiful pearl comes from an irritation. So when people understand this, like, it is probably the most powerful sales tool that you can use. So hopefully it's helpful. Connect with your art mentor and your two art buddies about this for sure, because they will help you greatly. Always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.